Hello and welcome to the Goal Line Conversation podcast. Long time no see. I know, right? It's been a while. But you have been giving you guys content now. Giving you guys content. You have been seeing the Feed the You series. So one way or the other, you are getting content. Well, today is a special episode, and I have a very close dear friend of mine, who's TOJU from the World Actual podcast. If you guys remember him, if you have been following our series, he's the one that helped us launch. He was the pioneer. That's what we call him, the pioneer for our actually it was our first recorded video episode. So we thank you for him coming back because now the season is over. Now we want to balance the books, eh? We want to talk about what happened, what transpired. That's what you should expect from this as well. But without further ado, Toju, I'll give you the floor. Tell us what you've been about. Tell us your podcast. Let's hear more. Let's hear more. We've missed
Yeah,
you.
yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, like you said, I host the Well Actually podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out. We talk about a little bit of everything, culture, politics to a certain extent, sports, and just like crazy things that are happening in the world. We try not to take ourselves too seriously, but sometimes we go there. But right now we're here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from the last football season. So yeah, I'm
Mm.
ready.
All right. Uh, Hey, you know what? One of if you guys are not updated on the trends of what's going on in the world, if you are not updated with music, politics, one way or the other, the World Actual Podcast gets you updated. So I want you guys to go check it out. Click on we'll provide the links to his podcast and all the different mediums in which he social medium channels. We're gonna post that. But I want you guys to go check it out. Sometimes guy, let me make a personal confession. Sometimes I click on your stuff. I'm like, whoa, what? That's going on. Like you talk about Grimes. I'm like, oh, the Grime is on. Because sometimes I just life just be life, man. And I get most of my news through social media. And one of your platform is actually one way. Sometimes where I get updated. I'm like, oh wow, that's actually happening. So thank you for what you do. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate. I'm
Appreciate it.
pretty sure a lot of people also appreciate that. Awesome. All right, let's get into our episode. So you talked about it. You said today we are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the past Premier League season. And one of the things and why I think it was actually important to bring you back is because I think when we had the first video episode, we talked a lot about Liverpool and that the whole Caicedo drama, the lack of signings. Like if you think about the time and the period that you were talking there, like, did you imagine? I want to kind of go into Liverpool before we. I know there's a lot of topics we can go into, but did you imagine where Liverpool finished or the run that they had this previous season is what you were expecting, given how your season started? Like, did you imagine
Okay,
that was
so
going to transpire?
so those are. I feel like those are two different questions.
Okay,
I figured we would end up here,
okay.
but not based on how we started the season.
Okay.
So it's like we, I expected that we would climb up to where we ended up,
Okay,
not
climb up.
fall to where we ended up. So like
Wow.
yeah, yeah, because it it seemed like the new pieces that we got, sort of like blended in very well up front.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was just like overwhelming athleticism that sort of got us to where we were at the beginning of the season
Mm-hmm.
and like early days, but it seemed like everyone just sort of like fell apart towards the end. And yeah, I don't. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about with this.
All
This
right. All right. Okay.
Right, can.
All right. No problem. All right. So you've answered that. So I think one of the most pivotal piece for anybody who's a Liverpool fan, and I've always wanted to just get a good understanding or just be in the mind of a Liverpool fan when the day I don't remember the specific day, but the day you opened your phone and you figured out Klopp is leaving Liverpool.
Hmm.
Walk me through what your mindset was, what your expectation were during that. Like, no, just how did you react? Let's start with that. How did you react when you heard the news?
First of all, why? Like,
I like
like,
that.
yeah, because just why? Like, apparently the team had known since November.
Oh wow.
We all found out. I think was it December or January. So
Mhm.
like the team had already known, and it felt to me like regardless of what the outcome of the season was, he didn't want it to be he didn't want it to be seen like he was forced out because of the results.
Okay. That's a good
That,
angle.
so and he's also like a very emotional guy. So it's like what he requires to do the job effectively is not something that he wanted to keep doing. And honestly, I get that. It's like in order for me to be as good as I need to be for this job, I need to get to a certain place. And getting to that place is just very exhausting for him. At least that was my read on the situation. And he had just decided that more like I don't want it to be like something abrupt where people can start speculating. So he gave this long run up of okay, this is gonna be my final season. Let's try and make it special. And obviously it didn't end the way he wanted it to end because obviously like you would anticipate like a title run, like a legit title run, but it just didn't end up that way.
So let's talk about, now that we're talking about the title run, like what do you think? Because I can't call it a bottle. It's not a bottle. It's not like it wasn't. What did you think disrupted your title challenge? Like what do you think was the cause of it? Like I know so many
AFCON.
people have
AFCON. It's very simple.
ideology.
AFCON.
Oh
AFCON.
wow,
Yes. AFCON. Salah got
Mm,
hurt out there.
that's true. That's true.
Then he came back, he rushed back, and then wasn't the same. So we missed him for 6 or 7 games because of AFCON/injury. Then he was like playing like 50% for like another 3 games.
Mm.
So that's a quarter of the season without your best player essentially.
That's true.
And we're not Man City that we can afford to have De Bruyne. Like De Bruyne played 18 matches this season, and Man City just
They
ran
still
through.
won. Regardless.
They ran through the league essentially. Like we're not Man City, we can't afford that. And then because like our second best finisher on the team is Jota, he's also missed extended period of time. So
He had bad luck of like
yeah,
just
so
injuries.
like when you ask what was the reason, it was that injury mixed with Alisson's injury as well. Like at that point, what like anything beyond that is a bonus. So like yeah, I can I can see I can it's no wonder why we didn't. Like you have to, when you're chasing down Man City, you
Mm.
have to be at your absolute best every time out. And unfortunately, because of those major injuries, and I'm sure everybody will say they had injuries, like no, your player of the season wasn't missing.
Yeah.
Your, the player who has finished with the most goal contributions for your team
Goals.
7 years in a row was missing. You can't say it's not the same thing, okay?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's that like it's not something we were able to overcome, and
I
that's
even think even for example, like Man City felt it now. Because remember when Haaland was off for a couple of games injured, people got to ask where the goal's going to come from. Like the
but
City were
but then
legit
Foden,
struggling, like in some of those games.
but then it was then Foden stepped up.
Hmm.
Remember the match that FA Cup final was the first time in 74 matches that they lost with Rodri in their lineup.
I know.
Think about that, in 74 matches, the first time they lost. So when you basically once you have Rodri in your lineup, you're not losing,
you're not losing, basically.
regardless of if you
Automatically.
have Foden or De Bruyne or Haaland.
So I think what I'm deducing is they had a good supporting cast. Meanwhile, the supporting cast even got injured. Then the backup to the supporting, they just were doing anyhow on the field.
So let me put it this way: Jack Grealish that cost 100 million. What did he do this season?
I think he scored 3 goals.
Kovacic that they just bought. What did he do? Again,
Like
like they had the luxury of having these big name players.
third players
Yeah,
just do nothing, collecting paycheck.
exactly. So like okay, they lost Mares, they just reloaded with Doku. It's like
Mhm.
there's nothing that they were missing really when like De Bruyne, like I said, somehow ended up in team of the season playing only 18 matches.
Man, just like this David Raya that got the golden golden glove. That golden, that's a conversation for another day. We move. I don't want to go on the tangent, but we move.
Okay. Just
All right. No, so I like the fact that you're giving me a different perspective, because before I was even thinking more of like, but that I was going to hold responsible. There are some players in your squad that they just need to be held responsible.
oh
That
no, oh,
Núñez, I'm going to your call that boy. That boy, Ian Jackson. It be like
oh,
say they get tete a tete.
oh.
They have a meeting, they have prayer meeting that they both attend together, because that boy
Oh.
he shows he just can't finish. He does in right. But when he gets to that goal post, it's as if the other sees his ex-girlfriend or somebody. He does something different. And it's like he will pass, he will run the whole length of the field. But when he sees that goal post, that's where problem is.
I I really I wish I could argue with you on this, but there's no argument. But
No,
it because really, like, what can you say? Because some of the misses that he has, it's like what is on your mind? Like, sir, what are you thinking of in at this moment when you're supposed to be playing football? Like, sure, he had
what's on your mind? What's
yes,
going
like,
on?
what is going on? Like, tell us, maybe we can help. Let us know what's happening. Like, but again, it with all that being said, he still had for the season 18 goals, 13 assists, like in all competition.
Mm.
Under any circumstance, that is phenomenal. But when you consider where he should have been,
Mhm.
he should have been getting close to 30 goals for this season.
This guy, this, and it also kind of shows me the level of like the level that Haaland has kind of raised the bar of what a striker should be performing or outputting, like season in, season out. Kane did
Wait,
raise
wait.
that level.
So
Yeah.
let's Haaland has his own he has his own misses that are
Oh yeah,
spectacular.
that one too. Yeah, he has his own too.
He has his own. So the thing about Haaland is because of the quality of the players around him, he has
Mhm.
way more opportunities.
That's true.
He like, but like, look at his record in finals.
Well,
He has never scored a goal in the
abysmal,
final yet.
abysmal. I'm seeing the stats. ESPN have been. I checked it out. ESPN, they're on his case. They're on him. I'm not seeing. I'm like, bro, you
Yeah.
guys scored no goals,
Yes.
no
So
goals,
the
not
the the,
protecting.
the quality of the supply that he gets is
Mm.
superior to what uh, Nunez gets. However, I'm not going to say that they're similar. But I'm just saying like Haaland also has that in him to miss like some really rudimentary goals. Like maybe because I'm also a fan of a rival, so I have those compilations just sitting in my.
Just in case.
I have
Anybody
them
else come
already.
at you, I'm ready for you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's but if we're talking about Nunes, yeah, there's something that I don't really understand how he's very consistent in his inconsistency.
Yeah.
He has all the tools. It's just like when you see the type of goals he scores, like why can't you do this more
He scores
often?
the hardest ones. The hardest one that you think that you should not score. That's the one he scores. But you're like tapping. No, I'm allergic
No,
to that.
no,
I can't
no,
do
no.
that. I
It's
can't do
like
that. What do you think I'm doing here?
yeah, it's like that's too boring. Like what are we doing here? So yeah, no, yeah, I
All
can't.
right. Well, sorry, you're say something?
No, I'm just saying I can't really
You,
explain it
you
on
can't defend that, brother.
no.
All right. Well, now that we've talked about the past, we talked about the things that led to well, just the I'm trying to look for the right verb for it. Just the lack of energy or the lack of push in that last leg of the title race. Let's talk about what's going on next post Klopp era.
Uh,
So obviously it's no news unless you're living under the rock. Arne Slot, is going to be your next manager who's coming from the Eredivisie League. What are your initial reactions about him? Like, have you watched any of is PSV, is it final?
no, final.
Final. Have you watched any of Feyenoord's game? Have you seen any of his tactics? Like, do you have what are your expectations basically? Like, are
So
you expecting the same kind of play style or like, let me get your like initial thoughts on that right
okay,
now.
so with slots, a lot of what he has done with Feyenoord
Mm-hmm.
is very similar to Klopp's style of play. It's
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily like the heavy metal football of like just
Again,
press, but his style of play, I think in like the top 5 leagues, his teams average the most like retaining possession or gaining possession in the opposition's third. So it's like they press higher up the field. But they still play out of the back. So it's like this very delicate balance of like build up play with pressure. And again, Feyenoord, like I wouldn't necessarily say it's like the most difficult competition that they have over there. Obviously, that they are not necessarily even winning it, but he has brought them like 2 of their 3 best seasons in history. So like that's why they gave him such a great send off.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
it
saw that.
was like as soon as what's his name? I think there was another guy that we're supposed to be linked with, and apparently what came out was when it was the deal had been struck of it was supposed to be like a 10 million fee, and then he came back and said, oh no, actually they want double that.
Oh, is it Amiron from Sporting?
Yes, like yeah, they wanted 10 million first, and then after that they wanted to double it.
Yo, that guy will be mad at his agent, man. He will kill his agent, bro. Because that man, because just to cut it, like I was actually following the news. Like this man already flown to London. Like even the Sporting people were already thinking this man was going to go. And then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, he's not interested anymore." I'm like, "Wait, what's happening?" Like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So and the thing about these coaches when they come in, you know, not only are they assessing what you have, they are assessing like who can they bring in as well. So you know there's going to be like an influx of players going in and out. We already know that like Thiago is leaving, Joao Matip.
That man just came to for paycheck. Just side note.
Yeah, you know what? There's a reason why
I think he only scored like 2 goals.
There's a reason why Bayern let him go.
I actually remember.
Yeah, there's a reason why Bayern let him go, and I mean, it started a symbol for us to get him in the first place because this is like a player that was already in Europe's team of the season coming to Liverpool. It was not like someone that we developed or someone that became a star with us. It was us acquiring a star that was still legitimately in his prime. And like right now, it's like a thigh hip injury that he has been rehabbing. He played 17 minutes. He came on as a sub and they were subbed off. It's like what is going on? Like is that not arthritis or what? But I feel like Slot like Liverpool. We've been spoiled the last 8 years, the last 8.5 years. We've been spoiled, but we also know that it took time to get us to where eventually, like Klopp became a legend. So while there are always going to be people who are greedy, who are like, oh, why can't it be just like that? We already know, like we know what bad days look like. Even under Klopp, we know what bad days look like. Like his first season, what were we, 6th or even 8th? Like we've had a season that we finished 6th, we had a season that we finished 8th, and then even last season coming into this year, we finished 5th. So we've even though we finished 2nd twice and won it, like we know what bad days look like. So I think there's going to be some realistic expectation with him because of also how Klopp even handed the torch over to him.
Yeah, I like that sort of his end of day, like Kura, like kind of pushing behind him. Like I really like that. Like the guy even was singing his song and whatnot. I was like, bro, that's proper class for, and it shows that it's not like I don't want any hand in this, so they don't blame me. It's like no, like I'm actually endorsing him. Like I probably was part of even people that interviewed him and whatnot. So it was kind of class of him kind of showing that. So, let me in the realm of expectation. Ideally, what are you expecting from Liverpool next season? Are you expecting a title charge? Are you expecting a top 4 and any trophies? Like, what are your expectations with Arne Slot coming in?
So let me put it to you this way. Did you even realize that Liverpool won a cup this season? Yeah, we actually won.
Yes, I realized.
Yes, now we actually won, but because we didn't take the Prem down to the final whatever, it feels like a massive disappointment to everybody. Or because Europa we lost to Atalanta, who ended up winning the whole thing.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's like that 3-0 that we lost to Atalanta, it seems legitimate now because look at what they did in the final.
Man, I watched that game, man. That man was saving that his performance for a day like this because I'm aware of Atlanta and how they play. Those people, they don't play for draw.
No.
This man goes all in or nothing. That's the way he plays. And if he loses heavily. But it's like the day for Liverpool, man. He be like the guy mean you guys, man.
Yes.
He mean you guys come to Anfield, man.
And so the thing about what made the run into the season so frustrating is that we shipped so many goals.
Yeah.
We shipped so many goals, and they were like, it was like, it's not even a personnel thing. It's just like mentality or just tactics. We just got the tactics wrong because we had Robertson, we had Trent, we had Alisson back, we had Virgil. So it's just a matter of who was partnering with him, whether it was Konate or was Kwanzaa. And just like every time, we're just keeping a clean sheet is a mystery. Like it's not something that we're not even familiar with it anymore. Like it's like the easiest bet to make is that Liverpool, you have someone scoring against Liverpool. And I think there was a period of like 3 or 4 matches that actually maybe like 6 out of 7, the opponent would score first and Liverpool would win 3-1.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, how is this even a thing?
That was like your comeback errors. You were coming back every game. You don't come back. You just come back. It's like you don't care about scoring first, or you're like, but once you are behind and you feel you're like, wait, we have to come back and win this game.
Yes.
Then you go ahead and
it's like that's urgency. That's like where was it initially? Like why isn't that something that we can start the match with? Why that we have to be woken up? Like, did you not know the match started? Like, did they give you a different kickoff time? So, but to answer your initial question about what are my expectations for Slot, honestly, just maintain top 4. Maintain top 4. Don't let the season be a step back. He's probably going to recruit better than what we did this season, because this season it seemed like there wasn't a plan because of how.
I think you mentioned that the last time. Like, you feel everything was just rush. Nobody really had this thing, because Liverpool is not known for doing all this silent hijacking this thing. Like if you get your player, like for example, was in Núñez, you already got him before even the season started, like before preseason and everything, that you're like, bruh, just come. We already got you. Even before the season ended. So like you're very clinical like that.
Yeah, but it's because of the people that were outgoing. The Henderson, Fabinho, like those ones leaving like almost during preseason. And like even Henderson, like he basically wanted to get his own, like he didn't even get his own farewell. That's how late he took it, where he just recorded a video on his own in Anfield. So it's like now finding the pieces that were supposed to be like McAllister. Now we got him immediately after the season.
That was a great part, man.
But then like Endo, for instance, it's not the typical profile of a player that Liverpool wants. But we felt like we needed cover because Bajcetic was injured, and that one too only played like 3 matches towards the end of this season. Like we had some like long-lasting injuries that's sort of like derailed a bit of how we're supposed to move, and then these people were brought in as sort of covers that weren't necessarily the best fit. So yeah, I feel like when Slots actually takes like officially is announced June 1st or whatever, like he's been announced in principle. Or like when he can actually come in and actually like recruits and people that fit the mold that he wants for Liverpool, for his new Liverpool team. I think while there's going to be like this learning curve, the fact that Salah has already committed that he's not leaving or whatever.
That was massive. That was massive. But after that Klopp conversation, and
so the thing about that is we don't know. Like it's only good if it comes with a contract extension, because if he's coming into his last season and he goes for free, then
that's
yes. So
that's a good if he's going to Saudi, that's a good 60-70 if he's on his last leg of contract.
Right now he can go for 100, but if it's not like if it's not possible for that side, I don't know. So it's obviously good that he's going to be back. Maybe Slot can unlock like his past glory days where he was averaging 30 a season or whatever. But like maybe you've heard the same message over and over from Klopp, and ready for something new. And like the way Klopp transitioned, I feel like there should be a lot of buy-in from the players. So top 4, maybe a couple cup semifinals.
Okay. Okay.
And then like yeah, it's just and then bring some of the youngsters along because like I'm sure you know firsthand what our youngsters are capable of. you
Unfortunately,
you
yesterday,
know.
man, that game, man, I
Mm.
want slap that man, man. I want slap the man that we shall not talk about. I want slap him. 'Cause I'm like, do you realize these guys are kids? Like, you know in Nigeria where you say only quiet, like just do gritty, like do strong guy for them small. But why don't they play with them like say they be Premier League players? But
Ah,
yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
no, but yeah, and the funny thing about that game that people keep mentioning is that the average age of your squad was actually lower than ours, even though it was our technically our kids. Your
Yeah,
average
yeah.
age was lower, but that's because we had Endo and Van Dijk
You
in
you
there.
you had good mix of experience. You had leadership, which is if I go on this soap opera, I will never stop. Which is what these American owners don't seem to understand. Any newborn baby that can just they can bring any Excel sheets and say this
Uh,
guy will be Ballon d'Or. They will sign that baby as they come out from the womb.
yes, now
These guys
nine
they
years deal.
just don't understand the value of experience. Like Van Dijk in that defense, he calms things down. Like he shuts things down very quickly. Like when he sees everybody just start doing madness, everybody calm down. And he shows it with his performance also. It's not just only talking. And with him, with that leadership armband on his hand, like nobody's talking anything. You're not talking anything because you understand where your place is.
Mm.
And all this one that they're giving handbag to guys that are just coming out of puberty, that are just realizing who they are in life, like why would the team go run it crazy? So to answer that age average team, they just used to help themselves. Our own was pure adolescent children that we lined up.
Oh man.
And you guys had a good mixture there. So it was sad, but it's still pathetic that we lost that. I can't explain that to anybody. Even I can't even explain that to my wife. She don't even watch football. I'm like, don't worry, we just talk. We just talk. I even gave her a strict order at one point. I said, if you see me watching any Chelsea match, off that TV, off the
Uh-uh.
TV, off the TV. Tell me to go and rest. Let me rest my brainwave.
Okay, so then how do you feel about Pochettino then? How do you feel about
Yeah, now we are going this. That's our next agenda.
uh
So, how do I feel about Pochettino? I think I mentioned this on the If It Be You episode. I I have mixed feelings, but it's what I do want is I would have loved Poch to stay. I wanted because these young kids, whether you like it or not, he actually started forming a rapport with them. They actually started playing for him. Whether you want to say it's the last 5 games of the season or the last 10 games of it doesn't matter. Establish a relationship with a very, very young squad that are throwing tantrums, but they understand who Gaffer is. When
huh.
Gaffer says this is what we're playing, and now they were actually beginning to see the results. Chelsea before the first couple of seasons with Poch, a winger will have a one-on-one opportunity, and it seems that it's hard for him to score. Rather than passing it to the middle to the striker, he will still try and force that difficult position and score by himself. Fast forward to probably towards the last end of the game, Madueke has a one-on-one chance to keeper. He sees that his right leg is his weak leg. He says, "No, let me pass it to Jackson." Pass it to Jackson. That is progress, and that's exactly what we want to see as fans. We are not expecting a miracle, and I don't understand if this board understand what the expectations of the fans are. Maybe they are thinking that these fans expect us to be winning Premier League or contending with what we with the 12 that we're coming from.
Mm.
This is progress. And you
Yes.
can tell a good story. You can tell a good story and say that this is what we're doing. You can even tell a good story and say that there's improvement based on the fact that there are a lot of people that were injured and they started coming back in, and there's a good story to tell. But the story that you cannot tell in situations is how you get embarrassed by Arsenal 5-0. How you draw to Sheffield 1-1. How
Mm.
you drew to Burnley that everybody they tap. Like if it doesn't matter, it's like the easy button. Everybody just tap the easy button. How many times you can tap it is what we are counting. You cannot explain that. So those are my problems with Pochettino. But I feel like those pieces can be solved by conversation, by expectation, and say, look, these things we are not going to excuse it. If we see patterns of this in next season or the other, we don't see any improvement, we will come down with the hammer. It doesn't matter if it's a December sacking, it doesn't matter if it's a September, any September sacking, but at that way, you show the squad that first of all, you are listening to them. Because if you watch throughout the interviews leading to the end of the game, when this guy saw the writing on the wall, they kept reiterating it in their interview that we are playing for him. We are playing for Gaffer. When Gaffer tells us what to do, that's what we're doing. Like, they actually were reiterating it. If it was a club that didn't care about like whether he goes or stay, they were like, yeah, we're doing the best that we can. Like, they were actually saying that we're playing for him, we're trying to get Europe, where his ideas are implemented. They were having fun. Now you take that, you ruin others, and then for the Chelsea fans that they are like, oh, good riddance. Good riddance, but for what? At what cost? That's the answer. At what cost? So my feelings is it's premature. It's very naive-minded of thinking about how to operate a football club, because you cannot buy kids and win Premier League. That's not how it works. Nobody has ever done it, and nobody will ever do it, because Premier League is not League One. I apologize to anybody who fancies it. Premier League is not League One. Premier League is not what do you call it? It's not Bundesliga. What Xavi did is exceptional, but nobody's going to do that with a bunch of players that nobody really knows. The only exception that has been made is Leicester. And Leicester, a lot of those guys that were grabbed from Leicester, they went on to do great things. Mahrez, your Kante, when they took out the instrumental pieces of those teams, you could see that they fell short. So Leicester just had gems that nobody knew what their worth were, and that's why they were able to make that push. But you cannot find a bunch of gems with no experience. For example, in that Leicester team, we had Morgan, Wes Morgan, in that defensive lineup. Very, very experienced man. The man knows how to run, but he's how to shout. But if you look at the team, that who are we putting? Who's a leader in that team? The leaders that you're supposed to encourage, you are giving handbands to somebody else that is not a leader. He's showing potential of leadership, but he's not a leader. You cannot give somebody to potential and tell him to lead a bunch of kids. Person will ask you, me and you not be age mates. What you want to, like you know what I'm saying? Like, but if you have some years of experience as a captain, you'll be like, no, don't, man, I've seen my fair share. Don't talk anyhow. You fit your bench, I just got to talk to Gaffer and go chop bench. Like, so my own thing is very, very premature. I don't agree with it at all. This our next season, inshallah, we see to God be the glory. God help us. We're gamblers. You know what? That's what we are, gamblers. We are gamblers FC. That's what we should be named, because that's what these ownerships are doing with us. They are gambling away our future, and it is what it is. As I do that, I'm just numb. They have made me numb since the time they were losing all these useless games that we're not supposed to lose. They have made me numb. So now anything they give me, I just take.
So how many coaches have you guys had under Boli?
Brad, they probably, let's count them. TOJU. So TOJU, they had Graham Potter, Frank Lampard. They had then they had after Frank Lampard, before Frank Lampard, they hired the assistant of Graham Potter to take interim position. So that's number 3. Then Frank Lampard and Poch. So they've gone through 5.
So Conte wasn't under Boli?
No, Conte wasn't under Boli.
Okay.
So they had 5, literally 5 good managers they've gone through right now, and it's pathetic. Like, you can't have that kind of, it's like if you have 5 accountants in a company, you have to check the company out. You cannot just say, if I bring a new accountant, the bookings will change. No, we have to take a look at the company. What's going on? Who's making the decision? Who's spending this money? Like, that's the questions you will ask. But yeah, that's where I am. But speaking of firing and sacking of coaches, let's talk about the musical chairs. That's what I call it. There's a musical chairs of hiring and firing coaches that is going on in England and in other places. And basically, based on other people's report, it's like who stays or who goes, then they determine who I will get to pick. So, like, for example, and I wanted to get your thought on this. We have Hansi Flick going to Barcelona, which I don't even understand. That those two people, it's like that's oil and water to me. Yes, so let's talk about that a little bit.
I don't understand the mix. I don't understand how, like, the personnel and the style of play. It's like, do they watch football before they
you don't understand that Hansi Flick does not play tiki-taka. Because tiki taka style is not you. Why you find it as a flick?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, did they call the wrong number when they got in? were they trying to reach someone else?
Man, they died wrong number.
Like, were they trying to reach someone else? Because it doesn't make sense in any way.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make sense in any way. I don't even see how the personnel can even match up. Because it's like you don't Barcelona. I don't see them as a team with runners. It's people that want to show flair. And I know Lewandowski is not about to do all that. He left Germany for a reason. Imagine living there and then Flick is following you here. It's like, I thought I've left you alone. How did you find me here?
Oh my God, that's going to be an awkward conversation.
Yes, now it's like I thought I'd left this behind. So that one I don't understand. But even the Xavi thing, it worked until it didn't. So I'm not even sure. Like, that was the biggest fool's goal ever. That title. And it was because it was
that thing deceived them well. It deceived Barcelona fans well because they thought that they were top of the world, and everybody saw the cracks. Everybody saw the cracks from the levers that they were pulling, selling the kidney, selling the stomach of the club, selling their intestine. Like, for all the levers they were pulling, everybody saw the writing on the wall. Like, this is not sustainable. Like, and what Xavi needed more players. He needed signings, and I think that's where, because before it was Xavi said he was going to leave. Then Laporta said, no, we'll talk to him, he'll stay. Then they started staying. Then they had some conversations. Xavi was like, Baba, I need signings. What you have here is not enough. If you want me to be actually compete against, have you seen this Real Madrid team? Have you seen Real Madrid team? I need signings. And Laporta is like, guy, I've sold the last kidney that we have. I can't sell anymore. And I think there's probably other things that transpire, but I think that's probably part of the reasons why they probably ended up parting ways with Xavi.
So the thing about Barcelona is, once the Messi thing came down, that's when they realized just how screwed they were with their finances. So like they're selling off their, they're basically doing like Jacob and Esau, like sold their birthrights, sold their birthright for porridge.
Like, I love that. I love that analogy so much.
So think about it, like how is a club like Barcelona selling off like their percentage of their profits in perpetuity just for a current influx of cash? It's like, that's like a distressed asset on Wall Street. That's the type of thing you do. Or you go into Shark Tank and say, hey, Sharks, I'm looking for 20% for 200,000 or whatever. That's what a club like Barcelona is doing. Wow. That's why Spotify is everywhere, all over the club.
Yeah.
They're getting their money's worth. And Barcelona's like, yes, we need the money. Like, they won last year by 10 points. And now this year, imagine they lost this season by 10 points. So that's a 20-point swing.
Oh, my God.
In one season. Of course, they had to let Xavi go. Yeah. So.
All right. So, but this is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. I want to see the flick style of playing in the Barca team. Let's move on to the next person. I have Vincent Kompany going to Bayern Munich.
I think that is the first case of black privilege I've ever seen anywhere.
Black privilege.
How do you get
that diversity card, man?
Bro, how do you get relegated?
And you get the best job, like one of the best jobs in Europe.
Yes. How? Is it so? And I'm sure we'll get to this other manager, but is anybody that has touched Pep's the hem of his garment that is just anointed?
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's the only thing that I can see with Kompany. Because yes, what he did in the championship, getting them up was impressive. But what he did in the Prem, he showed he was out of his depth in every way.
And he just showed that he didn't understand the persona of the players that he had, because he was having them to play a style of football that there was no ID talent that could play the type of football that you have. And what do best coaches do? Best coaches, they adapt. You learn, you adapt your squad to what they are capable of doing. A good example is Conte. Conte came to Chelsea. He said they want to play 4 at the back. They play 4 at the back. The thing did not work. The man said, I have to adapt, or if not, I will sink. Uh-huh. He adapted, and quickly they quickly found an identity behind him, and they started playing. But this man did not change anything. It changed nothing for all those 39 games or 38 games. He didn't change anything. He had them playing the same style, even to the point that the goalkeeper started scoring own goals against Brighton. That was pathetic. Because the man was not good with his feet. But you're asking him to do back passes, receive passes, play sweeper keeper, and he can't do that. So I don't. You are absolutely right. I don't understand what they saw in those 39 games that they said this man is the future of the person that will leave. What is going on with Bayern himself? Before they wanted to fire TOJU, then they didn't want to fire him. They wanted to keep him. Then all of a sudden they're like, we're going to fire him. And then all of a sudden this company is the only man on your list.
How is he? How
is anybody else?
So I could understand if you're doing your due diligence and you got to his name, but the fact that he was the first and only name on your list,
that's sad.
No. Like, as far as I'm concerned, there's literally only one person who will not take that job, and it's Klopp.
Yeah.
Because he just retired and because of his ties to Dortmund.
Everybody
That's the only person alive who would not take the Bayern job. Everybody else is fair game. Like, even if they said it was going to be Graham Potter, I will understand that one. Like, okay, I won't understand it, but it will make more sense than company. Because I've never seen someone fail up so much that, like,
I need to know his pastor's number, man. That's what I want to know.
You know what it is? The same person that was directing their calls is the same one that directed Barcelona's call to Flick. Because they must have been trying to reach someone.
There's a mix-up in transition.
They were trying to reach someone else, and it's like they had the and they just kept talking, and they decided to keep it going. And I can't explain it.
All right, very quickly, I think the next person I want to talk about was obviously the next person is Enzo Maresca to Chelsea. I don't tire, man. Enzo Maresca. Yeah, that's what Chelsea Football Club we have not turned to. We are chasing the Arsenal style that has not worked yet. Like, I want people to understand that this model that these owners are saying they want to copy the Arteta style does not work. It has not worked because Arteta has only won FA Cup. Sorry to us Arsenal fans. There's only one FA Cup with Emirates squad. With his actual squad, they've won dud. And they know it. They've won dud. So we now say that that's the one that we want to copy. When I saw it, I was just weak. I was like, okay, we'll see where we go.
But look at it this way now. At least your team is not having unrealistic expectation. They're not saying you're going to win the title. If they're telling you they are copying the Arsenal way of life, they're showing you that you're going to get close, but you're going to come up short. So that's what you have to look forward to.
We're going to be, but we push them all the way.
Yes, now.
We push them all the way certificate. That's what we are chasing for.
Yes.
Fantastic.
They're going to use you as motivation for someone else. That's basically what it is.
Well, it's sad where I'm going. All right, last person I want to talk about is Conte to Napoli.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's stylistically the temperament. Temperament. It's
like putting a square in a circle.
But the thing about him is we know he can adapt. I don't feel like you should start off with someone who needs to adapt. Like, you're setting him up for, I think, because of his familiarity with the league, at least there's more, like, he has a better chance for success than all the other people that you mentioned. But he also has the tendency to wear out his welcome very quickly. So I think by this time 2026, we'll be talking about Conte on the move again.
Literally, because the ownership, the owner of Napoli, what's his name? Forgotten his name. The owner of Napoli, that man, and Conte, that man he likes to be in the news. His ego is like times 10 of what an actual owner should be. And then you have Conte that will not take rubbish. If Conte wants what he wants, if he doesn't get it, he will just start acting out.
Yes, sir.
So I don't. Again, this is another case of misprofiles. Like, you have totally missed the kind of manager that you want. And like you said, I'm just having my popcorn. I want to watch Napoli. I want to get my popcorn. I'm just be watching Napoli, catching up with what's going on, because it's going to be an interesting one.
But at least Conte has the resume to back it up. Whether it's a good fit or not, when he walks into the locker room, the players have to listen. He has the credibility of the players. not only as a player but as a manager. So what's company? He has the resume as a player, not as a manager.
Mm.
So I feel like with Conte, at least when he tells them, okay, everything you've done so far, scrap it. There's a new sheriff in town. We are moving in this direction. While there may be grumbles, they're at least going to listen.
Mm.
For a company, I don't envy him at all because especially after
You're
the
going
season
in
that
there
he
with
had.
people like Thomas Muller in the squad, Manes Neuer, you have Goretzka, like guys that are like, guy, we saw you playing now. Like, I will come be my coach. I saw you play. I played against you.
But the beautiful thing about that is more often than not, company was on the winning end of whoever he was playing against.
True, true, true.
Yeah, well, except against Bayern, obviously, but
Yeah.
but still, yeah, I don't know. Conte, you know, Conte is going to he's not going to take nonsense from anybody. We already know that, so he'll be okay. He'll be okay.
All right. All right. So I think we've come to the end of our episode. I'm keeping this one short intentionally because when I want to come back and I want to have you back again because I
Okay.
want to talk about next season. And I want everybody to have their signings. Let's sign in, come in. You got so when everything is settled between that August timeline when things are about to kick off again. I want you back again, and I want to talk about our expectations. I want to talk about the expectation. I want to talk about how you see the team now that everything is settled, and when Arne Slot has actually settled into his game. Like, I actually want to get your thoughts, and like, even because you will have watched some preseason games also, so you begin to understand what his style is for the club and where you're going. So definitely you're going to be coming back here. So I'm already telling you that on hand, but I appreciate you having you here. I wanted to make sure that we have this conversation. Again, guys, if you have not followed him, if you're not following him already, you got to follow him. He has big and very, very interesting content out there, especially like if you're in the music world, if you're anything you want. This guy posts basketball stuff. He posts Afro music. He posts R&Bs. Like, he has actual ratings for what's going on in Grammy, who should get what. So like, you guys actually need to go check it out. And I'm sure you will have fun and you enjoy a lot of the content that's coming out for him. He also has like some good artists that are going to that are heading towards Grammy. He has some link and connection. If you know what I mean, guys, you gotta go. I'm not going to tell you who. You go and check it out yourself. Go and check it out. Because before you know it now, you just see the Well After podcast on the Grammy carpet, interviews on some episodes, some artists like that.
Hey.
Catch the wave now. Not when IPO starts coming out, then you people start going and say, I will remember him here. So catch the wave as you go. But thank you again for joining. We appreciate your presence. This was really fun. Every time we have conversation, it's always a blast. So I appreciate you coming up to the Goal Line Conversation podcast and just having a good conversation with us. I think this was fun. I would definitely do it again.
No
Any parting words?
Two parting words for me. I hope Man U keeps ETH so that we can continue.
So Eric Ten Hag, you must keep him. It's because of time I didn't want to go into, but I want to see whether they stay or not. Because if he stays, conversation is added to the agenda for the next time that we meet.
Okay. And then last thing, just your thoughts on VAR. Do you want them to scrap it, keep it?
They need to scrap the referees. VAR is not the problem. They need to scrap the referees. Other referees, all those board people, Anthony Taylor, Mike, all of them, just scrap them.
Yep.
Those guys have to go. It's not the VAR. The actual technology works well. It's the people who are controlling the technology that are the problem. And if they don't even if they get rid of VAR, the main problem is still there. It's like somebody that's telling that there's nail in the head, but it's like the nail is not the problem. I have a headache. If you take a leaf, the nail is still inside there. So what are you taking a leaf for? So that's my thought on that. It's the people actually themselves.
Yeah. I hear you.
All right. Anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe to both our podcast channels. I'll put the links in the bio. It's free. We are not charging you. Take advantage. We're not charging you now. Before we go on one platform now, we say we are charging $199 per month. So take advantage of it. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our thoughts, our opinions, and we'll catch you again on the next episode of the Goal Line Conversation. All right, guys. Peace.